Welcome back to CubeCon 2023 here in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm Justin Parnell.
I'm David McDarby.
Yeah, we're here for more Cube action with our friends at NRG Gaming Series. We want to thank them for being able to sponsor us and partner with us to bring you all of this hot Cube action the whole weekend.
Wow, and it's day 3. I've lost all meaning of time, but we've been cubing all day today and yesterday and the day before, and it's not going to stop. We're going to keep cubing today, cubing tomorrow, and when we leave CubeCon, we're going to continue to cube.
Yeah, cube the night away.
I cube every night away.
A lot of people did. You know, we not only do we have a lot of Cube here at CubeCon, but we've had a lot of other special events that have happened. We had a day 0 at one of our partners, Misty Mountain Games, owned by organizer Brian Kowal.
Yes.
We cubed there.
We did. It was wonderful. The store was great. It was filled to the brim with cubers, kind of an honorary CubeCon day 0, and it was wonderful.
Absolutely. So we did that. Let's see. So yesterday we had a...
Well, let's start from day 0.
Start with day 0.
So then day 1.
Yeah.
We had an event called The Cheese Stands Alone.
Yes.
Yes, so in that 8 powerful magicians vied for a lot of cheese.
They did.
And the winner...
Reduke.
Hall of Fame Reduke. And he also gave me some of his cheese. Here's some Wisconsin cheese that he gave me.
Yeah.
I kept it in my fanny pack the entire weekend. It's a little warm, so I'm just going to put it right there.
But you know what? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Wisconsin cheese is the most durable of all of the cheeses.
It is.
Is what I've heard.
It's durable. It's also tasty because that's way more important in cheese
absolutely.
than durability.
Absolutely. So not only that, so Reed was the person that stands alone, and also he's also at the top of the leaderboard here at CubeCon.
Yeah, so at the end of yesterday, he was undefeated, 30 points. Is he still undefeated?
He's not, because he took
a draw.
He took a round off so he could attend one of our panels this morning.
Wow, mind twist?
He did, yes. So yesterday we had the panel for day 2. David was part of the Behind the Spellbook with the other Wizards of the Coast employees we have here. Some of them appeared on stream. We have Dave McDarby, Melissa DeTora,
Eliana Rice, Gavin Verhey, and Chris Mooney. We all together talk about the secrets of design as they relate to Cube. So if you're thinking about making your own Cube or some other questions, we have all that on VOD. You can check that out at NRG Series here on Twitch. And then make sure you get some of that hot, good, straight from the Wizards of the Coast mouth wisdom. For cubes.
Straight from the mouth.
You know what they say. That's what they say. So we also had other panels too. So
we did, and Reed was at the our panel today, which was not behind the spellbook.
Mind Twist.
Mind Twist, which was a game show panel.
It was way more fun than the card.
I actually attended it too. It was a blast.
Yes.
It was so much fun. Anthony Maddox, one of the participants, won an original art.
Yes.
Squirrel
connoisseur right here, Anthony Maddox.
Love it, love it. So we have that going on at CubeCon, but we also had Bar Cube, where a bunch of people, you participated.
I was at the Bar Cube.
Yeah, went to a bar and played Cube for hours and hours.
I played the Old Border Foil Cube, which you just saw here, and I'm sure you agree, it was one of those beautiful looking cubes I've ever seen in my life.
Incredible.
I just want to look at it. I don't want to play it. I just want to look at it. I've been looking at this for 5 minutes, and I can't look away.
That's absolutely incredible. And then last night, we also had Cubeoki, we had a CubeCon sponsored karaoke, which I know hundreds of Wizards here went to.
Hundreds.
And which is, we actually had the lowest attendance for the first round of all of the days.
Yeah.
I think people were a little worn down. I know that went deep into the night.
Yes, I mean, Cube is magic, but so is music. And music together with other Cube aficionados is even more magical.
What a wonderful combination.
It's everything I want in a convention. Cube and Cubeoki and food and friends.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about creatures?
I could take them or leave them.
Well, I'm really happy you answered that way, because the cube we're going to be covering is called the Creatureless Cube. And this cube, the description is right on the tin. There are no creature spells in this cube.
None. 0.
Not one.
Not one. So cards like Duress, pretty good. Unwind, pretty good.
Wow.
Wrath of God, not as good.
But, maybe so. There are ways to create a lot of creature tokens.
Oh, sure. That's what
cube.
green-white would do, because what else would green-white do?
Well, it is to be believed that they are making tokens, and probably a lot of other colors, because in this cube, you have to find a way to win that's not simply casting a creature and attack it.
Yep. So you can do that. I cast Dragon Wing Glider the previous round. I just drafted this cube. We'll not talk about my record, but there's lots of really cool, fun non-creature spells that make creatures. Also, there's storm strategies, there's life gain strategies, there's artifacts, there's enchantments, there's Sanctum of All, Urza, Head Planeswalker, all kinds of other wonderful magical spells that you can concoct this crazy Rube Goldberg Creatureless machine and ride that to victory.
We were actually quizzing each other on the Urza Headmaster card because you have to go to a
AskUrza.com.
AskUrza.com.
And put the +1, -1, or -6, and wait for the +1. We hit target player exiles a card from their hand. We didn't know, but if you know what that does, you're smarter than Justin Parnell and maybe David McDarby.
Yeah, definitely Justin Parnell. Let us know in Twitch chat, and yeah,
I don't know.
Good luck. No cheating though.
Don't look it up.
Don't cheat.
Just think about
okay,
it.
just think about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Creatureless cube. So you drafted this cube.
Yes.
What did you see? What kind of decks did you see when you drafted this cube?
I saw lots of artifact decks and enchantment decks. Those are the big ones.
Yeah.
But I also saw some sacrifice decks, some weird. Guarding this cube, there's a bunch of weird ways to win the game. So they can have Vraska the Unseen, just like creature makes creature.
Yeah.
Sorry, you lose.
Yeah.
It does some other weird enchantment things. They can like skeletal mound-making skeleton from AFR. It makes skeletons.
Yeah, skeletal uprising.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
So lots of weird.
Love
that card. Yeah. My deck had one good game where I had Paradox Engine, Timeless Lotus, Sprout Swarm.
Oh, so you were going off.
Yeah.
That's infinite Sapperling tokens.
Yes, why I also had a Gear per Ether Grid. So I kind of did artifacts and enchantments and some artifacts.
Love it.
So then I was Sprout Swarming, untime artifacts, ping you for
as
one.
long as you have two, that Sprout Swarm turns into infinite creatures, infinite damage.
Future Sight, all sorts of things. It was really good. I really want to play this cube again, but I'm going to do the next best thing and cover it with you.
And that's great. We also have a special thing that was getting ready to happen, and that is seeing the person that beat me in the last cube that I drafted.
Really?
Yeah. So moments ago,
it could be anybody.
Actually, could be, except for you.
Yeah. So it's Vincent
and
Caleb.
So Pleasant Kenobi and I drafted a Mirage Block cube a couple of hours ago.
Mirage?
Mirage Block, Mirage Weatherlight, and Visions. Visions was one of my favorite sets. It still probably is one of my favorite sets.
The little V set symbol.
Yeah, Visions. So it's just those three. It's a 360 card cube.
V for Vincent.
It was a blast. And Vince, he drafted a blue-white flanking deck.
Flanking.
And I decided to try to beat him with creatures that were also attacking or blocking, and that did not work out.
Yeah, that's a rough place to be. Why would you do that?
Well, it worked the rest of my rounds because Vince had all the flanking creatures.
Well, that's why he's down here in the feature round, and you're here.
That's exactly right. So if you were Vince and you're drafting this cube for the first time, there's probably not flanking in this cube.
Not a lot of flanking, no. Creature combat does happen, but it's less important and less common than other cubes.
Right. So what would you be looking to draft? Like if you're like, after what you saw, what was either the coolest thing or just the thing, what's the card you want to open? And you were like, I want that. I'm going to try to build around this.
Well, I also had Nexus of Fate in my deck.
That is a really good one.
And that one goes in any deck. Even if you're, what is it, light Jund, like Holy Jund, you still want Nexus of Fate in your deck?
Yes.
I
just want Nexus of Fate in my deck in general.
So I never get to take extra turns in anything I do, really. Except Live the Dream Cube.
Heyo.
So I love taking extra turns, but in this cube, I'm looking for like artifacts, enchantments, planeswalkers, instant sorceries, battles, lands.
Those are all the rest.
That's what I'm looking for.
So with Nexus of Fate, it's really slightly different in this cube because this cube has a much higher concentration of things that say at the beginning of your upkeep or once a turn.
Yep.
So being able to stack those triggers on top of each other or planeswalkers you activate once a turn is more important here than it might be in other cubes where you're primarily attacking.
Right. This cube also has Wilderness Reclamation. That's
I love
a
it.
historical card that goes great with Nexus of Fate.
Yeah, they're buddies. Maybe a little bit too close.
They got really friendly with each other.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. They had to be separated by security.
So in this cube, there is not a lot of traditional mana acceleration. There's a couple mana rocks, but there's like moon. Other types of artifacts that you need more synergies to get through. It's not just like, Soul Ring, and there isn't just Demonic Tutor. You have like Diabolic Tutor and all these different ways that you need to, or Diabolic Intent. You need all these different ways to get your deck together, but you can't just like play it and be done. The cards have to work together. You got to work for it. Yeah. So looking for cards like that, but like also how you contextualize cards in this cube is way different. Like, if you had Doomblade, Doomblade's not really great.
No.
Tristani's Judgment, also not very efficient.
Which something you can draft in this cube, but I would not recommend it.
But Duress, Unwind, these cards that traditionally are like pretty good, they're really good. Dovin's Veto, you can't stop that. It's coming for you. So in this cube, a lot of times from like turn 4 to turn 5 onward, you're living in fear. You don't know what your opponent's going to do because this cube has a way higher percentage of instants than other cubes.
Right.
So you're like, your opponent's like 6 lands go, and you're just like, what do I do? Oh, I play attack for 2 with my tokens. Up, you're dead.
could have anything because creatures in almost every cube, and this is not just exclusive of cubes to CubeCon, but almost every cube is the highest concentration of a specific card type. You're taking that out entirely, so you have a very massive percentage of cards that need to be spread out among the other card types.
Yep.
So instants, obviously, very powerful, and especially when you don't have creatures, you are really able to do a lot of more interesting things that you would find in more traditional cubes that we've seen this weekend.
Yeah, so this cube is a 450 card cube.
Right.
It's all singleton. There's some silver bordered cards. Lands, there's about 50 lands, which is not a lot, and about 4 gold cards per color. So you have so many cards that aren't mucked up in lands or gold or creatures or a lot of mana producing artifacts that you cast for 2 or 3. So these instants and sorcery columns and enchantments, they're huge. There's so many cards. And you open up a pack. So I'm so glad that you're able to look at the cards you've drafted between your picks, because every card you pick, you have to expand your mind palace, and think about how it will work with every other card you draft. It's not just like, oh, Doomblade, that's in, don't have to think about it. No, it's like, let me pick a random card from the thing. Excavation technique. You have to figure out, am I going to copy this more artifacts and creatures, artifacts and enchantments in the graveyard?
How do I demonstrate it?
Do you demonstrate it? Do you
what
copy
can
it?
my opponent? Well, and with instance, if you demonstrate it, what if your opponent has something they could do, and then they're like, "Wow, this is really good for me now."
Thirst for meaning, thirst of meaning. Draw some cards, pitch an enchantment. Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
thanks,
I'm
buddy.
gonna get that back.
I'm gonna get that.
Yeah, let me get
that. Yeah, this cube is really exciting to watch, and honestly, this is probably the best representation of a Jenny Johnny cube I've ever seen, and I just want to keep playing it.
That's high praise. Coming from you.
It is.
I mean, really, truly, it is.
It really is. Some cubes, they talk about how coolly open decks you can draft, but this cube really strikes home that you can do all kinds, and you have to think way harder than normal Magic. Say traditionally you just play creature on 2, 3, 4, pump, you're dead. This one is like, I'm gonna break the rules of the game, and let me tell you, I would not want to be the judge that's covering this cube.
Well, we got one over there, and they're going to be covering it. And, we're so blessed, really, to be able to have such a wide variety of cubes to choose from. This is the second year of CubeCon, and there's even more crazy cubes that are here that we're not even able to cover because we're only getting a fraction of what is in the room. But being able to cover a cube like this, of saying, everyone that is watching, that maybe you've played Cube before, maybe you haven't, but you have a certain idea of what that is in your mind. A lot of people think Cube, they might think of Vintage Cube. Or maybe even something that is still just a little more traditional, like a Legacy or Modern Powered level Cube. This is something that is really working with outside of the realm of the base level, what you would expect a Cube to be.
Yeah, exactly. So like Justin said, a lot of players play the Vintage Cube on Magic Online or the Arena Cube on MTG Arena, and these are great representations of a normal cube you can get your head wrapped around and kind of play a lot of different ways to play Magic. As a game designer, it's very important to set expectations. So when you're able to do that with something like the Creatureless cube, you just see this other type of Magic that maybe you've never experienced before. And maybe that's the type of Magic you latch onto and really brings the most joy of your day out of slinging in these pieces of cardboard.
Yeah, and so I just checked. The creator of the cube is Ollie Davis.
Yes.
Who I know is in the Boston area.
Boston. Yes, continue.
Right. So I have talked to a lot of different players here that have played this cube before, and I did not talk to a single person that wasn't like, I love this cube.
Well, that makes sense. I love this cube.
I mean, it's pretty awesome. It makes me want to love it, but we're going to see if Vince loves this cube. Because
or you.
He's going to be the featured drafter that we're going to be covering right now. All right. Opening on pack 1, and we have a Nettlecyst bringing around a creature right off the bat. Vince giving the thumbs up. Yeah, you're good, buddy.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
What a pleasant lad.
Yeah. So, and I know Vince is riding high. He won that draft, by the way. He
I know.
absolutely trounced everybody.
Yep. So we're looking at Future Sight. Goes in every deck. Gift of Estates. If you want some more lands than your opponent, think about it. Brotherhood's End. Urza Mishra had a real fight because of Artificer class. It was a fight. And Glare of Subdual. So Glare of Subdual is the
mean card.
kind of the Neo opposition. If by Neo I mean, I don't know, 15 years ago or something.
Right.
So really, your first pick, a lot of cubes, you kind of take lands and you stay open, you pick 2 colors. In this cube, really, you want to take those thematic power outliers that you can really build a deck around and kind of go all in on those, because then you can spread out as the draft goes on and kind of have the crests of these different synergies together in this hodgepodge crazy machine. So
and Vince is here looking at Nettle Cyst. Oh, I didn't see Bitter Blossom in this pack.
Bitter
That
Blossom.
was hiding around. That's a first pick in most cubes that it's in.
Yeah,
I would imagine in this cube it's not any different.
It's a pretty safe pick. You play on 2, way better on 2 than later on.
But
Pleasant Combie's like, you know what? I'm here. I'm going to do the cool thing and take Nettlecyst. So now that opens him up to artifact synergies, enchantment synergies, mana value 3 synergies. Sort of the Meek likes another card called Thopter Foundry. That is what I actually lost to in the previous round.
That is, and that's something that was a powerhouse in Modern many years ago.
Yeah,
until you weren't allowed to play with it.
That's correct. Got to have other people play with the cards. So Sword of the Meek, you could pick that up right now, spike it, try to get that Thopter Foundry. This is a 450 card cube, so there's a decent chance you get it, but how is the opportunity cost? Here we're seeing Chain of Smog. This is a card you really don't see outside of Magecraft from Strixhaven.
Right.
Because if you have one of those, you cast it infinite number of times, and, nobody has any cards in their hand anymore, but ideally your opponent's dead.
And Vince staying open with that early pick of Nettle Cyst, so he's certainly not tied to anything at this point, nor would he be for a little while, but it makes it a little bit easier, and like you said, a lot of different directions for him to go, especially because of the context of this cube. You're going to end up with a lot of artifacts and enchantments no matter what.
Yeah, so, this kind of cube, the picks are going to be really weird. Traditionally, you follow perhaps the BREAD acronym, bombs, removal, evasion, aggro, duds.
Right.
But nowadays, it's 2023, kind of do keto stuff, so kill, efficient, top end, others. In this cube, it's not going to be like that. We're going to be looking at weird A's or B's. You want to look for these combo pieces that you have one half, so maybe you can spike and find the other half, and maybe some tutors. And the cards are going to be really weird and not really look like, creatures and removal spells for these first few picks.
I really think that, I was going to say, Sword of the Meek is probably like highest upside, but it's got a low downside. But Aetherflux Reservoir, if this isn't Live the Dream Cube, but that's heck of a dream to try to live.
It's a huge dream. That works with life gain synergies, which is the Orzhov color pair in this cube tends to do. It also works with Storm, which is the blue-red color pair. So it kind of works with 4 colors of the deck, because green is not a creative color.
And Vince staying open entirely with 2 colorless cards. We see an Anointed Procession in this pack, which I would imagine is probably one of the more powerful build-around cards in this cube, because you're going to be making a lot of tokens.
Yeah.
And that just supercharges.
You can go Anointed Procession into Parallel Lives, into Doubling Season, into make a 1/1, and instead, if you make 2 1/1 flyers, you make 8 flyers if you have all 3 of those in play. 16.
Could
math is hard. There's a lot of
tough.
numbers.
Well, yeah, it doubles it. Yeah.
It
doesn't make it easy for you.
I don't think ever is.
Promise of the Boon and we do see that Duress, which we noted was quite a powerful discard card, and it looks like Savine's Reclamation going to be a card that lets you return something 3 or less, like a single instance of a Sun Titan trigger.
Or a Sword of the Meek.
Or a Sword of the Meek.
Yeah, it can bring back Sword of the Meek with your Sun Titan trigger.
He didn't pick Sword of the Meek.
Yeah, he picked Savine's... He didn't?
No, he picked Aetherflux Reservoir.
Great. Well, now he has 2 colorless cards and a white card.
Right.
So now he's looking for kind of cheaper spells, maybe to bring back with that Savine's Reclamation. Here we have Thirst for Meaning to pitch that enchantment card to bring back with Savine's Reclamation.
I'm sure he'll find some enchantments along the way. We know he wants artifacts to go with that Nettle Cyst.
There's a boxing ring, an artifact that everybody knows exactly what it does.
I definitely know the Oracle text on that, but I won't read it now.
Yep, it's not. You don't need to. Razortide Bridge, this cube does have the cycle of 2-color artifact lands. So if there is shatters in the cube, there's artifact removal. They don't exile, because that'd be kind of lame. Exile your land,
lame.
So there's ways to use these artifact lands not just to fix you, but also for the artifact synergies that we'll see in this cube.
Anduril Flame of the West is a very powerful artifact equipment from the Lord of the Rings expansion. If you attach it to a legendary creature in attack, it gives you 2 1/1s that are tapped and attacking. Otherwise, you just get them anyway.
Yeah, so this sword, forged from the shards of Narsil that Aragorn wielded at the Battle of the Black Gate. So that is what Vince goes with. So this is, I'm sure Vince read the cube. It's called Creatureless Cube. So normally equipments are kind of easy to equip on, but now he's got to work even harder to find creatures to attach that equipment onto.
Mark of Eviction really great in this cube. It's simply just a 1-mana removal spell.
It is. That it keeps going. It's not just a 1-mana, it's repetitive. It comes back.
Every single turn.
Like, it's the removal spell that keeps on evicting.
Yeah. It's like the worst landlord of all time.
Yeah, that Tharashk, the bold. I don't speak Gruul. Meat and eggs.
We eat.
Mm.
All right, so we see a Witherbloom command going to have a lot of great uses in this cube as it's a, you're choosing two, maybe shrinking a tiny creature, maybe destroying a non-creature permanent, and that can get pretty powerful, but it is a 2-color card, and Vince has drafted a white card. It's still early on. He's mostly drafted artifacts.
Artifacts, yeah.
Yeah.
Vince is also seeing mouth to herd along with another elephant creating tokens. So he's got a lot of elephants in this pack, which might go well with that sword that he picked up earlier.
Good. I like it. I actually like this Mark of Eviction here. I think it's quite slow, but if you're able to get it down early, it's very difficult to deal with.
Yeah,
Almost
so
impossible to deal with, actually.
Almost. So Vince did take mouth to feed. So not only will he be able to make some 3/3s, but he'll be able to gain some life, maybe with this
Aetherflux Reservoir.
That's the one.
And he could pick up this Sundering Growth, which is going to let him populate as well as destroy an artifact or enchantment, which we know a lot of those are going around.
Yeah, there's also Rip Apart, Explosive Singularity, one of my favorite designs. I worked really hard on that one. Took about 5 seconds. Top down. Oh, here we go. Oh, look at him. Look up. He's like, whoa, Paradox Engine? This is a card that's banned in Commander for a good reason.
Yeah.
But here in Cube, nothing's banned. So
I really love that we have the face cam just to be able to see it.
Yeah.
And Vince is just laughing. He's like, should I take this? Should I be ridiculous? Hey, if you can hear me, I'm going to try to send psychic signals.
I mean,
you're on camera. You're on coverage, Vince.
Come on, Vince. That was the card.
You know what it's like to
Yes.
entertain.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I also first picked that card when that literal piece of cardboard Vince has was in my hands much less than an hour ago. And I was like, this is the best card in my deck.
Oh, here's the skeleton card. It's in the very back of the pack. We may not see it. It's a black and a green enchantment for 5 where we see Takeja's Welcome. I like that one quite a bit, too, if you're making a bunch of little tokens.
Yeah, so now he's really thinking about this Paradox Engine and seeing every card he takes now he has to think about in the context of Paradox Engine.
How can I break
Aetherflux
it?
Reservoir, Andril, the Shards of Narsil, the Flaming West. There's so many things he has to think about now when looking at his cards.
And Ichor Wellspring is just a very baseline good card, especially if you have ways to get rid of your artifacts, maybe like a Cart Clan Ironworks. I'm actually not 100% sure, but he does go with the Ichor Wellspring, which is a great pickup, obviously. Yep. Just lets you cantrip upon playing it. If he goes to the graveyard, you do it again. Helps his Nettle Cyst, and maybe if you can find something to tap artifacts.
Mm-hmm. Gear per Ether Grid did me a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ichor Wellspring. There's a phrase, eat your vegetables, and that Wellspring is often the vegetable eating pick in this kind of cube. And sometimes it's even a Mycosynth Wellspring, if you're lucky.
I would love to see that. Ooh, we have an Amanatu, the Fate Stitcher.
The
Fate Shifter.
That's
Fate
the one.
Shifter.
You got there.
All right. Parallax Nexus, that is not a card you see very often in cubes. Parallax Wave you see frequently.
So you see the white one.
Parallax Nexus you're not going to see.
There's Aminatou. She does a lot for 3 mana. Lots of weird things you can do with her. You can change permanents around. You can blink things. You draw cards at the top of your library. Also, she can be your commander.
Not in this format, but she will potentially make your 40-card deck. Vince taking a stronger look at Invasion of Tolvada, which will return a permanent from the graveyard to the battlefield for 5 mana before flipping. If you are able to attack the battle down to make a 1/1 flying spirit on the back with the Broken Sky and give all of your creatures +1/+0 and lifelink.
That's true. It can bring back anything as long as it's not a battle.
Oh wait, non-battle, right?
Can be a battle, which most permanents are non-battle permanents.
I would say almost all of them.
Almost?
Almost all of them, but 35 other ones.
Wow. You know your battles.
I've been battling a bit. All right, this is Vince's first pack. We see Glare of Subdual still around. We see Future Sight still around. We also see a black and white land, which, given the context of the rest of Vince's pick, that's exactly what he's going to go with. I've actually been really impressed with those cards in cubes frequently.
Yep.
So battle again?
Battle again. So in this cube, in particular, you really want to keep track of the cards that went around the table and came back, because when they're gone, you can be, oh, someone else is taking the enchantment deck or the artifact deck or whatever. So your mind is so under duress thinking about all the different cards that are now gone, which gives him the direction to go. And he's taken Mukotai Soul Ripper.
You knew I was going to get that one.
Well, it was one of my designs. I made that card.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So it's a vehicle. It sacrifices things. It gets in there. Yep. I really just love Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's my favorite anime.
Speaking of being under duress for things not coming back around, duress also did not come back around, as you mentioned, a high pick in this cube because it gets everything. It's like a Thoughtseize, but it doesn't cost you 2 life.
Sure. And to go with the vehicle, Vince took Okiba Reckoner Raid, which, a little known fact, it gives your other vehicles menace when it's flipped, transformed.
Oh, not just itself.
Well, not just itself. It's not a vehicle.
That's right. It's a rat.
That'd be crazy.
It's a rat, right?
Let's not use derogatory terms here.
What is the creature type?
Oh,
It's a rat rogue.
It's a
Thank
rogue
you.
first off. Rogue first, rat
Okay,
second.
first of all, it is
let's
not as a rat
call
first.
it Nizumi. We're on Kamigawa. Hello. So here, Vince looking at trading post, famously making a Brad Nelson go token, and Vince like, you know what?
Yeah.
I want to do some trading.
Yeah, I've seen that one a time or two. Mark of Eviction still in here. I mean, maybe I just value this card way less. Oh, also, we have a Blood Crypt, a very rare fixing land. But
Yeah.
that says, I
Oh.
mean, very clearly, yeah.
Yeah.
At this point,
this isn't the Jund cube, but black red is still a fine color combination to have.
it's my favorite color combination.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I've moved on from Golgari.
But banned is a word where death and decay have no sway.
Well, I don't care about band.
Oh, come on.
I'm here.
I mean,
I'm here for Rakdos.
I agree with
pits of
your
hell.
I agree with your compassion and your passion. But why you gotta be so mean? Why can't you be ingenuitive about things?
I'm just trying to have fun, which is exactly what Rakdos is all about. Mishra's Command also is all about fun because it provides you with 4 opportunities to cast the card and choose anything, and 1 opportunity to pass it to the left as the 15th pick, and you take Aura of Silence instead.
That card, Aura of Silence, is extremely strong in this cube.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It stops so many cards from being cast. It's a huge Vindicate most of the time. Plus, this cube has a lot of ways to bring back cards from his graveyard, such as Savine's Reclamation. So just like, naturalize your thing, bring
Invasion
it back,
of Colvado.
naturalize your thing, bring it back, naturalize your thing.
Right.
Flashback Savine's Reclamation, naturalize your thing.
And Invasion of Tolvado, we have that.
Invasion naturalize your thing.
Yeah.
Naturalize your. Okay.
Yeah, Vince might be good. We do see the Amanatu going 15th. I saw. So David's obviously beside me, shaking his head, really just unhappy with that 15th.
Up and down shaking. Is that what shaking means? All right, so now we're on to pack 2, passing the other way. We've got a Gired's Belligerence, a removal spell that populates. The only red populating spell in the game.
Right. Very good. Fun fact. And
Well,
I saw
Naya
a
card.
lightning bolt in there.
Lightning Bolt?
Hello. Oh.
Well.
Vince is not
Now,
happy
let's
with
check.
that.
Did I take that Sword of the Meek? Did I just check the pack? Yeah, I
You did
didn't.
not.
I passed it.
Yep. And
Oh,
he's-
well. You know what? That's okay.
Good news. We don't have Vince mic'd up right
No use crying over spilled Thopter Founders.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. He just went in and he was like, please, past Vince, do me a solid and have me have drafted Thopter Foundry. No. But you know what? You got the Aetherflux Reservoir, and that's going to be a lot of fun, too.
Yeah, no use. You can't change the past. You can only change the future.
That's right.
And today is a gift. That's why they call it a present.
And what would the present be here for Vince? What do we think is the best fit for what he's got going on?
So his synergies right now are artifacts, life gain, creatures, equipment, attacking. He's got a lot of lands. You love lands. Lightning Bolt is removal.
It is.
Parallel Lives does the tokens strategy.
We got a Parallel Lives and a Anointed Procession. That is a very dangerous combination to go wide very quickly.
Evolving Wilds is the pick here. The card that you see in all these in core sets all the time. Vince is like, you know what? Let me get that.
Yeah, I respect it. There's, it's a card that's always going to make your deck 100% of the time. And I think that's important for first picks as they're like high conversion rate cards. It doesn't necessarily always have to be the most powerful thing in a pack that doesn't call out to you as something that's going to be a very high impact card.
Yeah.
And that happens.
Present Vince is setting up future Vince just fine with that Evolving Wild. So now Vince can take any card he wants because he has that much more fixing to play these cards. But this time he'll take Warm Power Stone to get up to those big mana values on before curve.
Well, not only that, but we know that Vince has Paradox Engine. Untapping something that provides 2 mana, that's a lot.
Ooh-wee. What a time.
Meathook Massacre, that's a powerful one. Inventor's Fair, that one gets any artifact like a Paradox Engine or an Aetherflux Reservoir. All those powerful Kaladesh artifacts.
Fair enough. Hopeless Nightmare, one of those powerful Wilds of Eldraine enchantments.
Yeah, I love that card in Wilds of Eldraine Limited.
It's great. It's awesome.
I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, it's great. Lazotep Plating, Hexproof, Amass one. Davriel, The Rogue
Ooh,
Shadow
Bastion of
Mage.
Remembrance. See, this is where I would want to be, but I would have wanted to be in this from
A
the
little
very
earlier.
beginning of the draft. Yeah.
Yeah. Vince looked at it, shook his head, and was like, I still might take it. So now he's got to decide if am I going kind of aristocrats, black, white, maybe green Obzon, sacrifice creatures, or do I take Inventor's Fair so I can find these Paradox engines, these Etherflux reservoirs, and that's exactly what he's going to do.
Right. It's a shame. There were two different, and there was a critical point in this draft. It was early on with that Sword of the Meek pick, and obviously that would have turned up probably a Bastion of Remembrance if we'd had it. But you know what? That's not where we are, and present Vince has got to work it in. Ooh.
Yeah, this pack has about 7 cheap artifacts to play. I had Sorcerer's Spyglass, which is really strong for me in this cube. You get to see what's going on, which is half the fun.
Yeah, take a peek.
And then it's basically a removal spell for a permanent, which is amazing in this cube.
Yeah, and that's something that people see often, but you really have to recontextualize, given the fact that so many things have abilities you need to do, and the information always something that, I don't know, I feel like players will often not value as highly as they should. Knowing what's going on, especially in a singleton format, is very, very critical because a lot of times you're using one-shot effects, and he's going to go with a Codex Shredder, which mills, but also, more importantly, can sacrifice or return any card from your graveyard to your hand. But maybe, just maybe, if we can find a card to cast over and over again, we can untap Codex Shredder with the Paradox Engine.
Yep, so Codex Shredder helps with this Paradox Engine, but also can bring back Aura of Silence. So maybe Vince is looking to vindicate his opponent's permanents over and over.
It sounds like that would be your plan. You've brought it up.
Well, it happened to me one time.
Okay.
And I can't get off my mind. So there's a couple of Rakdos cards in this pack. Your favorite color pair.
Yeah,
Kolaghan's Command, Oni Kolaghan's Command right there. Oni Cult Anvil is right next door. And they are 2 peas in a pod. They love being with each other. And now Vince is seeing if he can really go down this Bastion. Did he take the Bastion of Remembrance?
No, I don't think he did.
All right, well,
He took the Inventor's Fair.
Well, good news. Inventor's Fair can find Oni Cult Anvil.
It sure can. I like an Oni Cold Anvil. I think it's a very powerful card. It's a great card because it's like a lot of small pieces to work with multiple different archetypes.
Yep.
It cares about artifacts, cares about like drain and gain, cares about creature tokens. So
Vince also eyeing the Diabolic Intent. So this is a demonic tutor, but you got to sacrifice a creature. He's like, wait, do I have any creatures? Yeah, I'm good enough. Yeah, you're good. You have that mouth.
You don't have any creature cards.
He's got that mouth.
You'll find.
Yeah, he's got mouth.
Vince has definitely got a mouth on him. That is definitely true.
That's true.
Strixhaven Stadium is notably a combo with Paradox Engine specifically. This if you are able to tap it a couple of times in your turn, you can very quickly win the game by winning the game.
I love winning the game.
Yeah.
I'm sure Vince does too.
And he's pulling Deadly Dispute to the front, go along with the Strixhaven Stadium.
Bootlegger's Stash, if you want some more artifacts, but Deadly Dispute lets him sacrifice a creature or an artifact, which is way more common in this cube.
Sure enough. I think there's a chance we see the Strixhaven Stadium come back around.
Thopter Sieve went back, so no one is betting on the Sieve because someone out there has the Sword of the Meek.
They do,
and Time Sieve went around. So we'll see if the Thopter Foundry went around too.
Well, we know it went around a little bit.
Yeah.
Vince doesn't have it. Reading Karn Living Legacy. So this is going to allow you to put Power Stone artifact tokens into play tapped, which this card can sometimes, it has a low floor, but it can also have a high ceiling because in this cube, you might not be able to pressure Karn quite as quickly. And ultimating this Planeswalker will very quickly lead to you winning the game as you can tap any artifact to deal 1 damage to any target, creatures, players, planeswalkers, etc.
Yep. The gear per Ether Grid on legs. Some say of Karn Living Legacy. Basically, every iteration of Karn is an amazing card for a cube, and yeah, Vince goes with that.
Yep. No surprise. No surprise. I actually think that's a very, very good pickup for his deck. Vince really going into much heavier into the artifact stuff, which, I mean, he does have that Nettle Cyst as a gigantic payoff. We do see an All Is Dust. That is a very spicy sweeper for Vince. Well, I would imagine that's going to be a great pickup for him here.
Yep, it's pretty good too, but also Sphere of Annihilation is a card you don't see a lot of the times, but in a cube where the only creatures are tokens, this is a Beast Suspend 1 Wrath of God. So, like, these kind of cards act so much differently in this cube that you really have to think about them a little harder than normal and then maybe figure out some fun surprises when you draft them.
Right. So, basically, you're saying, do I want the most undercosted sweeper of all time, or do I want a card that is likely going to punch a hole through everything else my opponent's doing, taking care of a lot of other artifacts or enchantments? And he goes with
Meticulous excavation.
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 And that is an enchantment that you could pay 2 and a white to return a permanent you control to your hand as a sorcery.
Anytime.
Anytime.
But because if you have it has an unearth, you unearth, you exile, and it comes back again.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, works with all those unearth synergies.
Okay, and we're going to see a Pyrite Spellbomb go with more artifacts. Vince dipping his toes into, seems like black and red, kind of.
Yeah, he's got black cards, white cards, red cards.
Yeah, a little Mardu action.
Green cards. He's got mouth. Don't forget the mouth.
I don't want
The
to.
drafter with
forget mouth defeat.
The drafter with the mouth.
All right, we get into.
Entomb?
I mean, at this point, this is just like I will figure out a way to make this Entomb good.
Entomb goes with so many things. It goes great with Savine's Reclamation. You can Entomb that, get your double back from the
Or
graveyard.
if you already have Savine's Reclamation, you can Entomb something and then get it back.
What a combination. Sounds great. Now is eyeing Warlock class. Maybe he wants to be a Will, the Blade of Frontiers from Baldur's Gate 3. Draw some cards, make them lose some life, all the good stuff. Davriel Rogue Shadow Mage. Also, so a lot of decks in this cube are control decks. You don't come out of the gates blazing with creatures. So Davriel really has the time to tick down, take a card, nugget for 2, and just get some accrue some value that way.
Yeah, and it's interesting seeing Rune and 6 go so late. I mean, that's such a powerful card, but like in the context of this cube, there's no fetch lands.
No fetch. Well, I think there are fetch lands, but there aren't a lot of them.
Right. Okay.
There aren't a lot. You're not focused on getting fetch lands in the
Right.
cube. You really want the cool engine building cards.
There are 10 fetch lands.
And
Have
there
we
are
seen any fetch lands?
No. And there aren't a lot of X1s in this cube other than
Right.
1/1s, which, there's a lot of 1/1s. Here we have Seismic Assault. That's
know-
a whole nother direction this
I
cube
know
would
what
go
you've
to.
been taking in this, and he's going to take Flicker of Fate.
I would have taken Source of Spyglass, but,
you might have taken it the last time.
I needed it. It helps me not die some of the time. Not all the time. I did die. Colgan's Command. Oh, Cinder Vines is also a great card in this cube. I don't think Vince can play it, but it nugs your opponent, and it is a naturalize, which is extremely strong in this cube. Colgan's Command is half a naturalize, though.
Yeah, he can play a Kolaghan's Command, and that's what he's saying. I love Kolaghan's
I do
Command.
too.
I draft it wildly high in pretty much any cube.
Yep.
I'll always find a way.
A strong card in the Live the Dream cube.
Yeah.
Not to bring it up again.
And there it is, the Strixhaven Stadium.
Along with Drown Yard Temple, a great card to Entomb. Bring it back.
Strixhaven Stadium, yeah, I actually think that's going to be a sleeper in Vince's deck. Strixhaven Stadium is, as you noted, a lot of control decks in this cube, and we have a 15th pick time save.
Wow, it'd be great with Sword of the Meek and Thopter Foundry. Been really good.
Don't bully Vince for the pick.
He can't hear me. He doesn't have headphones on.
He'll hear you later.
Oh, he can hear. Oh no, he can listen to this.
Oh no.
Oh jeez.
We had to go
What have I
back.
done?
So a lot of times I've noticed that Strixhaven Stadium is quite powerful in the cubes that it's in exactly 2 type of archetypes. One is as fast as you can possibly go.
Yep.
The second, as slow as you can possibly go.
Slow. Just tick it up.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
are you the tortoise or are you the hare?
Right. Interaction. Oh, look at that. I've tapped Strixhaven Stadium about 10 times, and now you've simply lost the game due to my removal and my card draw. And Vince can skip some of that too, because he has the Paradox Engine, so it's not that he's just getting 1 activation a turn. He could get 2 or 3 activations a turn, and that starts to add up very, very quickly in a cube where it's not easy to put pressure on your opponent every single time.
Exactly. That downside you won't see a lot. Speaking of that, Coveted Jewel, it's really hard to get on the board with creatures in this cube, so that maybe you can untap with that jewel, or maybe you untap it with Paradox Engine. All these artifacts that tap for more than 1 mana get so much stronger when you have Paradox Engine in your deck. It just turns them on. It's great.
Blink Moth Urn, a card I personally despise.
You don't like mana? What's wrong with that? Ooh, Zeotor's Proving Ground lets him cast off. Ebony Fly. This is a little mana rock that could. It's an enter the battlefield tapped 2 mana artifact that you can pay 4 mana. Roll a d6. We all love rolling d6s here at GameHoleCon, at CubeCon.
Yep, a lot of d6 is going on.
And it becomes, maybe it's a 6/6 flyer that jumps another creature. It does so much for 2 mana. It's perfect.
So my dislike. Did he take the fly?
Oh yeah, he's flying, baby.
Oh, right.
We flying by the seat of our pants. Oh nope.
Whoa,
Yep.
whoa,
Oh
yep.
no.
Yes. He's in.
He's out. Once you touch, it's like chess. Once you touch it,
gut check.
you have to take it. The hobgoblins are rising here, and the devils are being Tanglewire.
Tanglewire with great art, by the way.
Yeah, that's the best art for Tanglewire.
I'm a big fan of the original Glenn Angus art.
Yeah,
but
well,
this
you're
is
an
a
old
good one.
fogey.
That's true. Mycosynth Gardens, that's going to be able to copy any artifact.
Yeah,
that's a powerful one. And Vince is looking at that one.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. Might be in for that.
The upside of that card is you can't even fathom it. I have trouble figuring out. Here we have Teferi Time Raveler.
Okay.
It doesn't do anything cool. It's just value. Take that Michael's in. Come on, Vince. Can you play blue cards?
He might be able to play that Time Raffler.
I mean, it's worth it. I'd go
Life
blue.
will find a way.
Yep. There we have Unwind, which is just a straight-up counter spell where you untap 3 lands for 3 mana. Brawl's Expertise, a great wrath. Yep, Vince goes with the Mycosynth Gardens.
Good on you, mate.
Yeah, so now he's looking even more for artifacts to like find, to copy, all kinds of cool suggestions for him to take in the future.
All right, we see a Hopeful Vigil, partner in crime to Hopeless Nightmare.
Yep, Timely Reinforcements, great if you're doing the Delving Season strat. Here we have Doom Foretold. This is a unique enchantment, does a lot of things, but basically it slowly eats away your opponent's resources, and then you'll get some more resources in return.
Notably, for Doom Foretold, you cannot sacrifice a token in this cube, or a token at any time, to satisfy Doom Foretold's cost at the beginning of your upkeep. So this is going to really eat away at someone's board or be sacrificed much sooner than it normally would.
Yeah, well, in the end, Vince usually has his way, so that's just how it goes sometimes. And he can have his way with the Doom Foretold, thinking about, is this good for my deck? And then it's so hard. There's so many things. Opalescence, how does that card work? Nobody really knows. Soul Guide Lantern, Aura Mutation, Fleet Wheel Cruiser. If he's vroom, vroom, put a sword on that bad boy, gets to go to town.
He's got one. He's got a sword. He's got the Andril.
Andril, Flame of the West.
Sword,
yeah, make some tokens, attack. That card can do it. Mystic Genesis.
And Vince is kind of caught in between some
worlds.
combination of Mardu here that he's really like to be leaning on. Vince is really considering this Doom Foretold. And honestly, I get it, because what you don't want to have happen is you don't want to be in a situation where you play it out and you can't leverage it, and then you have to just sacrifice your Doom Foretold for minimal value.
Yeah.
And so it does cost. It is not free. It definitely requires some thinking. But Vince says, you know what? Ultimately, I might be able to leverage this enough to have other permanents to take care of it. Oh, well, you see a Liliana Waker of the Dead.
Wake up. Why'd you leave the zombies on the table? You wanted to.
I had one, and you're quicker than me, and I can't.
Yeah, I've got split seconds. Yep. So Vince is thinking about, is this another 4-mana sorcery speed spell that help me win the game? I mean, Liliana and Doom Foretold, both these cards, maybe you just cast them and they could just single-handedly win the game.
Right.
Like they can do that. So having these ways to spike these victories is a lot of times where you want to be in these cubes where you don't really quite know what's going on.
So
speaking of ways to win the game.
Yeah, we saw a Bolus of Citadel, but we also see Sensei's Divining Top in the same pack, which is a combination.
A powerful combination of non-creatures.
Yeah. All right, and Vince seems to be pretty happy with what is going on here. Now we're now solidly in black with the Citadel.
That's true.
Yeah, I think we're solidly there. Elspeth's Nightmare. Now that has a duress attached to it.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Quite powerful in this cube. You're going to be able to get anything you want. And do we need a little bit more mana with Liquid Metal Torque? I actually think the answer is yes.
The Torque helps out the Liliana. That's what he took. The Doom Foretold, the Paradox Engine. It also can turn things into artifact for Colgan's command. But instead, refurbish, so he can bring back all these cards that he can entomb.
There we go.
Entomb for Bolts to Citadel.
We have
refurbish.
Combination. We have the combination.
Ring the combo bell. Combo.
Coercive Portal. That essentially lets you destroy everything if your opponent agrees to it, or if they don't, you're simply going to draw a card every
Pay homage to the portal that ruled them all.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Belby's Portal. That was the portal. Or Portal, the entire set.
Oh, Clock of Omens. I actually really like Clock of Omens.
Chromatic Orrery. That card's really good with Paradox Engine.
My personal favorite equipment of all time, Grafted War Gear. Tough to get going in this cube contextually, but still going to provide +3/+2 to any creature it's equipped to, as long as it stays there. Because if it doesn't, you got to sacrifice the creature.
Don't unequip it unless the creature has indestructible.
Or unless you.
Oh, wait, it doesn't work.
I tried. You'll be upset.
That's why I'm 1 and 2.
Or maybe because you wanted to sacrifice the creature. Oops, I had to sacrifice this creature on accident. Darn, I've drained you for 3 now. Because I had 3 things that drained you. I usually do.
War. What is it good for? Attacking for 3/3/2.
All right, so we're looking like Chromatic Orrery or Underhanded Designs. Vince sticking with his method of taking the second card behind that we can't easily see on camera. I appreciate that.
Yeah, here we have a Forsaken Monument for all, Forsaken Monument works with all these colorless mana producers, these colorless spells, and these colorless creatures that Vince may have up his sleeve.
Forsaken Monument is a very, very powerful card, but you really want to be able to have some colorless lands. Now, Vince has a couple, and he does take it. He has things like Inventor's Fair to take advantage of it. He has Worn Power Stone to take advantage of it. He does not have that liquid metal coating.
Nope. But Manifold Key, Warden of the Wall, does work with Forsaken Monument on both ends. It can block as a 4/5. We have Tribute to Horobi. This makes some rats, and then become the Rat King and take all the rats for yourself.
Rats on rats on rats on rats.
Rats on rats on rats on rats.
And Vince is going to say...
Can I get the Oracle for the backside of
Yeah,
this card?
just-
I don't want to take it out and show everyone I'm looking at it.
Yeah. We have another thing to go with Reanimate. Looks like we have a card from the Brothers War that creates a Power Stone token when you cast it, which I could not recall the name of.
Refurbish and rest and recharge. There's and
Rest,
recharge.
Yeah.
Repair and recharge.
Repair and recharge. There we go.
Yeah.
Repair and recharge. Or a tribute to Horobi. Now, I would be taking the tribute to Horobi because I would be in the Black Sacrifice deck, and that's what Vince takes.
That is what he takes.
Because it's a quite repair and recharge. You did it.
I
All right.
I sometimes.
There's the Blinkmoth Earnbacks. Let me tell you why I don't like this card.
Go
It
ahead.
has nothing to do with Cube.
Okay.
But
Good
I had
story
a-
to have on CubeCon.
I had a friend who just abused me with this and would tap it during my turn and would not let
Ooh.
me have any of the mana. And it's just one of those emotional connections that I've made to that card. So I have grown to have a distaste for it.
Would that make it a continuous artifact?
It wasn't for me. Crowned,
Coveted.
coveted jewel. Not going to be the pick.
Not the pick.
As we have, I believe, the Blinkmoth Urn.
That sounds about right. Tangle Wire, another colorless artifact. If Vince wants to keep taking these unfun cards, that's a great one to have.
Yeah, it's the cutest Tangle Wire. There's no argument for that.
I mean, that's true. I mean, that art is the Glenn Angus art, as you said, pretty iconic. People have looked at that art a lot, and usually when they're looking at it, they don't like looking at it.
No, it's very rare this card has been on the opposite side of the table. Usually it's me that has it.
Why don't you like fun?
I do like fun.
Why just for you?
I'm gonna say a phrase that you've heard before.
Okay. Is it, David, you're awesome?
It's David. Fun could be a finite. There could be a finite amount of fun to be had, and I want to have all of it.
All of it?
Yeah,
The Glenn Jones strategy.
that is exactly right. Our good friend Glenn Jones. Vin's gonna take Field of Ruin, which not only lets you destroy non-basic land, but provides an extra mana with that Forsaken Monument when you tap it.
Right, you are, but also it helps fix himself. If you ever fixed yourself with the Field of Ruin, it feels really good.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. Let me take you off a double land, and I actually need to get this last one. So Vince maybe going to be splashing another color. It looks like he's in black and white. Maybe be splashing red a little bit. Just a taste.
Just a tad.
Just a touch.
A little dabble do you.
Yeah. All right, we see the rest of the drafters. We see Joe Anderson.
The mono red player.
Mono
red Joe.
And we know someone else in that pod. Looks like Derek Gallen.
Derek Gallen.
Who has been doing our interviews for all of the Cube creators.
That's true. He's
for the
a
weekend.
pretty good friend of mine. He's a good man. He does good interviews. He was in Mind Twists competing with Anthony Maddox.
He was.
And Maeve.
Yeah, had a great time. Looks like everyone's having a blast.
A blast. Yeah. Hopefully we get to see Derek on camera so I can look at his plays and comment on them, as is my job right now.
You are legally required to do so. And we have a Era of Enlightenment, Estrad's Invocation, which copies enchantments. Dispeller's Capsule, which can destroy enchantments. That's probably a pretty powerful one, even if it's not going to be something you're going to start, but that's going to be a very highly coveted sideboard card, as we know Vince is in white.
Yep. Vince was asking for the Hand of Enlightenment Oracle text. It's for a strike. There you go. But Chromatic Star, it adds mana. If you sacrifice it, you can add more mana. Or you add mana and you draw a card.
That's the plan.
That's
and
great.
We do see the liquid metal.
There it is.
Are we going to take Prototype Portal here?
I don't know. If Vince plays Prototype Portal, I'm pretty jazzed.
I am jazzed too.
I would have loved
this. He's going to pass the liquid metal code.
I would have loved to see that liquid metal torque in his deck.
Torque, yes.
I mean, there's so many liquid metal cards. There's like 3.
Yeah, Prototype Portal. Vince is thinking about it.
It's tough.
Banishing Slash, are we going through all 3?
Banishing Slash.
All right, yeah, get him out of here.
Yeah, it's got to see if he has balance acquired and has artifact and enchantments. Now we have Sarcomancy, makes a creature, and Clock of Omens. Have you ever had Sarcomancy in play and your opponent has zombies but you don't, so you don't lose life?
I actually have. Yeah, that was in my second ever Magic deck.
Wow.
Suicide Black back in 1999.
We probably wouldn't call it that anymore.
No, but that was the name back then. Yep. Age, some things in Magic don't exactly age too well, but
I mean,
yes.
Death and Taxes do. That's still around.
Right, that certainly was. Yeah, Sacromancy, Dark Ritual, Duress, Phyrexian Negator,
Yep.
Hatred.
Hatred.
A lot of great ones.
What? These words sound so mean. Why can't we have words like Liquimetal Torque? They're not mean at all.
No, they're not mean, but they can be confusing.
Or Doom Foretold.
and Vince has the Doom Foretold.
That's why I said it, Justin.
Right, and Vince is going to be likely having that Doom Foretold in his deck. And in paper this is my favorite way to cube, but it's not the only way.
It's not?
No, you can actually play cube on some digital clients in Magic.
You can.
What would one of them be?
One of them would be Magic Online, MTGO.com. It's your digital home for Commander, Cube, Modern, Pioneer, Pauper, Legacy, Vintage. Cube. Did we say that one?
Oh, I was just going to add it a second time.
We'll book it. Cube, and then Cube.
And Cube.
You can sign up for Magic Online right now with the free account. Go to midgoat.com, MTGO.com. You can sign up and even play with Power before you ever spend a dime on Super Jump. Super Jump. Have you ever played Jump In, Justin?
I played Jump In on Arena.
Jump
I played
Start.
Jump Start in paper.
So you know the deal. You make two decisions. You make two half decks, and you put them together and make a deck. But what if the decks were cube decks? So,
Sounds better.
Doom Foretold .deck, Tanglewire .deck.
That's perfect.
That's perfect.
That's exactly what I want.
You pick the most unfun cards in the game, you slap them together, and you've got a deck made for Justin Parnell. You can do that in Super Jump on Magic Online. Get some cube action right and make two decisions, play the game. You can also, calling out Commander players, you can play Commander Magic Online. I actually keep all my decks on Magic Online for Commander.
That's
So I can manipulate them, look around, play test them against each other.
Right.
You can bling them out, playing pre-constructed or anything in between. You can also aim for the Pro Tour if you're like some of the Hall of Famers in the room. Pro Tour competitors, Dom Harvey. Pro Tour winners, Reed Duke. You can qualify for the Pro Tour on the regional championship in any of 7 different formats and compete with the best in the champion showcase. So again, visit mitgo.com, mtgo.com, download Magic Online. I've played it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've worked on it a lot. Great people, great products, and you can play Cube on it.
Great Magic.
That's really what we're all about.
I have good news for you. You wish you got to see Derek?
I do.
We're going to see Derek right now. We're going to see Derek build his deck, so we're going to find out exactly what is going on.
Well, I see a Sublime Epiphany.
That's a
big
good
into
one.
that one. Derek has a bunch of blue cards. He's got Teferi's Time Twister. He's got Investigate card, make some artifacts. He's got Sensei's Divining Top, Chromatic Orrery. We're going big. Mindslaver.
That's going really big. Mindslaver is it's one of those cards that's like, okay, this is tough to cast. It's going to be 10 mana to cast and activate in the same turn cycle. Vince has a deck that you could really mess up quite a bit with Mindslaver.
Yep.
I feel like there's a lot of destruction you could do if you take a turn over there.
Derek also has Lightning Bolt, the Strixhaven Mystical Archive version. I love that card. It deals 3 damage to any target. It's kind of like a Lava Spike, but sometimes you can misplay with it.
Right. Some say the greatest Magic card of all time. I would actually be one of those people.
That was really where they got it right. There's Healing Salve, there's Giant Growth. They have applications. Then there's Dark Ritual and Estus Recall. Come on, do we have to?
It's the the 3 porridge of Magic, but there's 5 porridges.
There's 5. Magic. We like 5 a lot in Magic the Gathering. It's kind of our special number.
As it turns out. So, what are we looking at for Derek? Okay, so Derek's picking up. So I'm gonna try to not remember every single card as he's picking all of these up.
Yep. Derek also has a Rise and Shine. This card.
That's a good one.
Yeah, this card animates non-creature artifacts, makes them 4/4. So I've heard of killing people with Mindslaver.
Yeah.
But this is ridiculous.
I've not seen a Mindslaver actually come across for lethal, so that would be really entertaining if we got to see it today.
I would love to see that. That'd be just the game. I mean, Derek's going to give you a piece of his mind. Attack for 4.
Right. So often in this cube, you are kind of trying to take a little bit of an unfair edge. Maybe not necessarily put an infinite combo together, but something that is arbitrarily large, perhaps.
Yes.
And a lot of people, when they play this cube, you're not exactly playing straight up Magic where you're just like playing removal, card draw, make some creatures attack your opponent. Like there needs to be some sort of other angle that you're doing. It doesn't always make it work. You can't always make it work if you're just straightforward and playing straight up Magic.
Yeah, so this cube really rewards thinking outside the box of the cube, thinking outside the cube. And you're not just going to play a creature with mouth, equip an equipment onto it, attack for 5, make some spirits. You need to be going big. you need to be playing your Mind Slaver. Maybe you animate it. Maybe you rebuy it. Maybe you do all sorts of things. Maybe you copy it with Duretti Ingenious Iconoclast. Well, it is
Oh,
legendary, so
that would be tough.
that'll be tough. But maybe you have a way to make them not legendary. I don't know every card in this cube.
I mean,
There's
sometimes you just want to flex on people. I just
mean-
want you to know that I can do this.
that'd be a weird flex, but okay,
Yeah, well, that seems exactly like something Derek would do. Weird flex, but okay.
certainly is. Yeah, so we're going to keep talking about this cube.
Yeah, we're
because
gonna keep talking about this
cube.
cube.
Is
So-
really fun.
So, in full context, look, let's clue the viewers in.
Yep.
Derek, who we thought we were going to be watching, just got up, waved to us, and then walked away.
That's correct.
So Derek is not going to be building for right now. Are we able to go and look at Vince's build? Is that something that we're able to do? Who is on overhead in the spot A?
If we could just look at anything that's not
Yeah,
us.
Let's find out. We know.
I would take
we
it.
look at each other so frequently.
Yeah. Oh, thank
right,
goodness.
here
Look
we
at
go.
magic cards.
Yeah. All right. So Vince building here. You know what I like? First card he put down as soon as we came back, Tangle Wire.
Tangle Wire. Well,
That's my dog.
I mean, Tangle Wire may not be fun, but it's a heck of a way to win.
That's not true. It is fun. It
Oh.
doesn't have to be fun for everyone.
Yep. So right now, Vince is looking at all his artifact and colorless synergy. So he's just pulling out every colorless card he can to see where he starts with, and then maybe he can decide on the colors after that. And that's a great way to go about it in this cube.
Yeah, and we do know Vince is going to be heavy into artifacts. Really going to be able to leverage that Karn Living Legacy, as we saw. Those Power Stone tokens are going to be quite powerful. Derek walked past us again, trying to get as much info on Vince as possible.
Yeah.
I cannot believe it, but here he is.
Anything for the dub.
Right.
Anything. Yeah, Vince also has that trading post, which is great with, that wellspring he has, that chromatic star, can do all sorts of things by sacrificing artifacts. So right now,
Man,
Vince,
he's got Clock of Omens and Strixhaven Stadium. I truly think that the Strixhaven Stadium was really
ways-
undervalued by this draft pool. I think it is incredibly
Yeah.
powerful, and I think it's going to be a meaningful part.
yeah, so it looks like Vince is going to be playing mostly a colorless deck, as we can see. So he's just starting off with that, and then I'm excited to see what he ends up with. But for now, we're going to actually go back to the real Derek Gowan and take a look at what he's shaping up to build in the Creatureless Cube here at CubeCon 2023.
All right, so we see a white card and a red card down
For Mirrodin,
for Mirrodin.
and a crowbar.
So I see a lightning bolt and a chain,
Chain lightning.
That's,
All right.
that's a little spicy.
So turn 2, your opponent said 14. So it looks like Derek is being a red-white, blue, maybe aggressive deck. That is the red-white color pair in this cube. It doesn't make huge tokens, doesn't make a lot of tokens, but it makes them quick enough to attack and try to put pressure on their opponent before they can get the wheels get spinning on their machine.
We have Hilda's Icy Crown, which is an excellent tapper, the most recent update to Icy Manipulator. If you do it on your turn, it's free. You don't even have to pay a mana to do it.
You don't?
No. What a powerful card.
I love not paying mana.
Yeah. Recently, in Wilds of Eldraine Limited, I did use the tap, sacrifice it to draw 7 cards.
7, the full Monty.
I did, and then I lost the game because I was forced to do that because I was going to die.
Yep. So looks like Derek is doing a lot of. This is called the Creatureless Cube, but Derek is still separating his spells by things that can be creatures mostly, or make creatures, and spells that don't. So Rusted Relic is up there, 4 mana, 5/5. That's it. Dragonwing Glider is also up there, sort of as a dragon, a 5 mana, 4/4 flying haste. So we still have creatures. They can attack, but in the form of artifacts. So yeah, there we see this bad boy from Scars of Mirrodin. Played that format a lot, and it looks pretty unassuming. But sometimes a 4 mana 5/5 gets the job done.
Yeah, I would say frequently. It frequently gets the job done. That's quite powerful. Is this Restoration of Iganjo?
I believe it is Restoration of a Ganjo. So
Okay, Restoration of Iganjo. We
not,
know that
not
card
only
is quite powerful.
not only does that turn into a creature, but it makes creatures
Oh, it's
and it ramps.
double up.
It does everything. I love that card. Yeah.
Looks like we have Vanish into Memory on the bottom, so that will let you
Ooh.
blink something.
Well, in this cube, I wouldn't really call it blinking.
Right.
I'd call it,
It will never
exile.
come, it will
I'd
never
call
come
it
back.
a 4 mana removal spell that you draw 5 cards. So yeah, this card right here, when you hit a token with it, you draw a card equal to its power, and it's exiled. That's it. We're done here.
Yep.
It's extremely good. And this is exactly a good example of a card that it looks so much better. It feels so much better in this cube than other cubes.
Right.
Also, I believe this was one of the community created cards that we made way back
It
when.
actually was.
Yeah, you don't talk about this one a lot, but it was one.
About 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, Vanish into memory. You're going to simply exile something and then draw cards equal to its power, regardless of what that is. And then as soon as it comes back, whenever it returns from its journey,
Yes.
which is never,
Never as a
you'll
token.
discard cards equal to its toughness.
Yeah. So, for instance, if you hit that rebel token from Dragonwing Glider, you would draw 4 cards, kill their creature token, move on with your life at instant speed.
Now
Ooh, Valakut?
there are a couple of exceptions, but one of the main exceptions Derek actually has. So, for example, if you vanished into memory Rusted Relic and it came back and it was metal crafted, you would discard 5.
Yeah, well,
but
you just wouldn't do that.
You don't do that.
Just don't do that. Don't Wrath of God your Baneslayer Angels.
All right, so we're going to see all of Derek's lands here at the top. Okay, Derek's solidly the Jeskai here. Pretty confident. Looks like I got about 5.5 non-basic lands. Obviously, Valakut. Is that a Valakut?
It is Valakut the Molten Pinnacle.
We're just going to confirm that Valakut's in the cube. Nah, it's not.
It's not?
So it's going to be it looks like it's going to be something else. Either way, okay, we also have a Darksteel Citadel on the side here. We have one of the bridges, Silver Bluff Bridge, I believe, is the blue and red one. We have Steam Vents, we have Hollow Fountain, we have Rogran Triumph, and then, of course, we have Glimmer Void, which is going to add any color of mana as long as Derek has an artifact.
I believe he will.
And I believe he will. But if he doesn't, he's going to have to sacrifice it, so that's going to be high priority for him to do. Derek going big was one of the first cards he put down was that Chromatic Orrery. 7 mana, but they're going to add 5 whenever you tap it. And of course, you can tap 5 and tap it to draw a card for each color. Permanent you control, which is going to be up to 3 for Derek.
Up to 3. Could be as little as 0, honestly. But that's how it goes in this cube. Yep, there we are. A great card. Adds CC, CC, C. In fact, fun story, this card used to be add Wooburg, because that's kind of what these cards would do. But then, wouldn't go in very many commander decks then.
Almost none.
Almost none. So we changed that to lots of C's, and it's been doing good work ever since.
Right. You just got to put that extra rider on the top. What this mana can be whatever mana you want. Love to see it.
You love to see it.
We have a Dragonwing Glider. It looks like a dragon. It's not. It's a rebel.
For Mirrodin.
Derek debating on this Return to Dust. I am going to hazard a guess that is going to be a very powerful card in this cube, just in general.
When would you recommend casting Turn to Dust?
Either in your first or second main phase, because that will let you get not only 1, but 2 artifacts and or enchantments.
Yep, in this cube, again, this cube has no creatures in it.
Not a 1.
Not a 1. So it has a lot of targets for this cube. And that also is a 4-mana card that sometimes can just win the game. If your friend plays a 3-mana spell, a 4-mana spell, they don't do a lot. You're like, all right, my turn for post-combat main phase, maybe even another post-combat main phase if you made more additional main phases. Kill those 2 things. Live in large.
And, Derek has set that into his sideboard along with the Citizen's Crowbar.
Citizen's Arrest? Citizen's Crowbar.
Is Citizen's Crowbar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like saying Citizen's Arrest with the people's elbow.
Citizen's Crowbar, both of those deal with artifacts and enchantments.
Yep.
And
so,
Derek's saying, do I need to deal with those? I think yes.
I think so. Yeah, so Derek's deck, I'd say, is fairly aggressive for this cube, but you need to keep people off of their machines. Again, in this cube, you don't really have one big permanent and you win the game. Sometimes you do with Bolas the Citadel or Doom Foretold, but most of the time it's combining A plus B, and in C, you get win the game. C equals win the game. So Citizen's Crowbar, which is 2 C's, Citizens and Crowbar, can stop that C from happening by removing A or B.
Exactly right.
That's so simple.
Very easy to follow.
Very easy to parse.
Only here will you hear that. Now, ultimately, Derek doesn't know he's gonna. Those are the first 2 cards he's gonna side in this first round matchup.
Yeah.
Because Vince is going to be going very heavy artifacts. We saw him lay out about 15 different artifacts to start before he figured out the color, the black, white, or red cards that he's going to be using in his deck. Now, you say that Derek is aggressive. And is this what an aggressive card? We have the aggressive Mindslaver deck.
Well, you can Rise and Shine. Derek has that Rise and Shine and that Insoul artifact down there in that 2-drop slot, or down there in slots that can wake up these non-creature artifacts and crash in there for. It's like maybe Derek plays the Black Staff of Waterdeep on turn 1, Insoul artifact you see there on turn 2, attack for 5 on turn 2. Your opponent might have 1 land in play.
That's true.
That's
And Derek has Silver Bluff Bridge and Darksteel Citadel, so these are potentially two indestructible attackers, a 4/4 and a 5/5 respectively,
Yep.
that are going to be almost impossible to deal with.
Yep, Derek did a common thing, a Teferi's time twist check, as we are wont to do. See, if I blink some of these non-creature permanents, how good is that for me? 3, 4, nah, not good enough. Get out of here.
Yeah, we call that the quad T here in the booth.
The Teferi's time twist
Test.
test. Wow, nice work.
Thank you.
Yeah, so a lot of T's. The safest place for you is not now, but the safest place for this card is in the sideboard.
Yeah, and I think that we can safely say that is the case. There's a couple of things, but you're really just being, I don't know, Derek probably being too cute. And realistically, he's got a lot of great options. Cuteness, while this cube encourages a lot of trying to put together cute things, probably not going to be something he's super interested in. How many burn spells are in this cube? Because Derek has arguably two of the best ones.
Yeah, I would say there's not a lot of burn spells in this cube. You don't do a lot of cool burn things in this cube, and you sort of want to assemble some artifact and enchantment synergy to make some cool combos. So you don't burn a lot of times is just the way to finish the game sometimes in this environment.
Right, and you know it looks like Lava Spike is one of the other cards that you could have that's going to deal damage directly to your opponent. So there truly are not many. It's very slim on the amount of damage that you can deal from instants and sorceries in such large chunks. Okay, Derek is now debating on the Mindslaver, but he's like, I can't bring myself to cut it. You can see him on the side there talking through it. He's talking himself in and out of Mindslaver as we speak. And Corey, our spotter here, is saying, I would imagine, knowing Corey, these are Magic the Gathering cards.
That's correct. Right you are, Justin. So
Our favorite phrase.
Yep. Right. Oh, no. So Derek is counting up his pool to make sure, this is probably a 17 land deck, as is a common thing to do in Magic the Gathering Limited. But, you got to cast that Sublime Epiphany. You want to cast that Mindslaver and really deploy these threats on time, as Derek needs to get under his opponent's defensive for the most part to take the victory before his opponents can cast these really strong, big, chunky cards.
Do you know the card that is under Prismari Command? It looks like a blue card. I'm not exactly sure what it is.
Yeah, I can tell you what that card is.
Okay. You could have said, I'm not sure, but I appreciate you giving it a go. Oh, we almost got to find out. Derek was going to give us a little bit of a chance. He just teased us instead. It looks like it's either a blue card or a colorless card.
Oh, it's blue. All right, well, I wish it was blue so I could pitch it to Force of Will.
Force of Will not in this cube and certainly not in Derek's deck.
That's true. Urza's Command, though. Some say, I usually say the blue Force of Will, but, sometimes you can't do that.
So Urza's Command, that's a card that makes a construct or an Urza struct. No one says that last one.
I mean, you say it. You can make it happen.
I could. I have the power right now. Could do that. It makes a Power Stone, lets you draw and discard a card, or gives your opponent's creatures -1, -0 until end of turn. I think Derek closing in on his final 17 lands and 23 spells, which I imagine is going to be the breakdown that he's going to go with, the old traditional. Now, something that you may notice is there's a very specific card that's gone out of picture.
Yep.
No longer in Derek's deck.
Mindslaver.
That's right.
Well, but Glimmer Void still remains.
That's true.
So, Derek does how many artifacts do I have for Glimmer Void? Can I play it on turn 1 and an artifact and pray to Keranos that this artifact will stick around for this Glimmer Void to also stick around? He's making the judgment call.
He's got a lot of artifacts in that little one, that one slot, including Sensei's Dividing Top, including the Black Staff.
Of Waterdeep.
A lot of options. Vince's deck, what do we think it's going to look like? How deep do you think Vince is going to go outside of colorless?
I would imagine he'll be playing black for that Entomb and Bowls of Citadel.
Probably
and I
white.
imagine he'll be playing white.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Vince has some pretty powerful white cards. We have a Savine's Reclamation. He really thought about that Doom Foretold quite a lot.
Long time.
And then ultimately picked it. So I think he's going to try to make the Doom Foretold work. Especially, he has that Ichor Wellspring, that's a great way to sacrifice Ichor Wellspring to Doom Foretold. That's quite powerful if you're Vince, being able to draw a card and then forcing that onto your opponent in the next turn.
Quite powerful. So we have time here, and in an event like, in any Magic event, you have X number of minutes to work on your deck. Use that time, figure out, where you want to be, use that time to your advantage, because, you can't, like, if you ask Derek right now, name every single Oracle text of all these cards, he'd get pretty well there, but I doubt he would. But he is saying, he's happy with the deck, he's unsure how it's going to go, but he's happy with it, and going to be getting into a battle with Vince here very shortly.
Right, and we're going to let our players down at the feature match area finish getting their decks together, getting their lands together, and we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes here at CubeCon 2023.
CubeCon.